Welcome and thank you for joining Edmonton FCSS for this 2026 to 2028 Grant Process Information Session. This is designed to be an introduction to FCSS and the Community Program Grant. More information can be found at edmonton.ca/FCSS, including the FCSS Program Guide, links to the two grant streams, Community Program and Strong Sector Initiatives. Before we get started, the City of Edmonton acknowledges the traditional land on which we reside is in Treaty 6 territory. We'd like to thank the diverse Indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as the Niihau, Cree, Dene, Anishinaabe, Saulteaux, Nakota Iska, Nakota Sioux, and the Nisitape Blackfoot peoples. We also acknowledge this as the Métis homeland and home of one of the largest communities of Inuit south of the 60th parallel. It is a welcoming place for all peoples who come from around the world to share Edmonton as a home. Together, we call upon our collective honor traditions and spirits to work in building a great city for today and future generations. This is the agenda for today's presentation. There will be 8 areas that we'll be focusing on. Before we jump into the information specific to FCSS, we would like to let you know about our new grant portal. And it is important that you register for this portal. Do not wait until the last minute. Before you will be able to submit your application, you will need to be validated. This validation process includes identifying your organization manager and providing your certificate of incorporation and/or annual proof of filing. Following this, your organization will need to be validated by the funding strategies team before you can apply for funding. It is not automatic and can take a few days after you submit your registration. To help you with this, all the information, including an instructional video, is available on the grant web pages. All the FCSS funding requests must be submitted through the portal. As well, this portal will notify you of new funding opportunities as they open throughout the year and will be how you provide your reporting. What is FCSS? FCSS is a partnership between the province and the city, where the province provides up to 80% and the city contributes a minimum of 20% to fund preventive social services in Edmonton. The FCSS program, as mandated by the Government of Alberta, is focused on primary or universal and secondary or targeted prevention, working to address root causes to social issues. Prevention is a proactive process that strengthens the protective factors of individuals, families, and communities to promote well-being, reduce vulnerabilities, enhance quality of life, and empower them to meet the challenges of life. Primary or universal prevention is focused on building strengths and supports in individuals, families, and communities to prevent problems before they occur. Secondary or targeted prevention addresses problems early before they become more serious or is focused on a particular group of people or community. On this slide, you can see the Edmonton FCSS theory of change. A theory of change in grant funding is a framework of how a program or initiative is expected to bring about specific outcomes or long-term impact. A theory of change helps clarify the pathway between funding and results, making it easier to track progress, measure success, and adjust strategies as needed to ensure the intended impact is reached. It also helps funders and organizations stay aligned on the goals and expected outcomes. Edmonton FCSS strives to increase social inclusion and equity by funding preventive programs and services, community development, and strong sector initiatives supporting key social issues in our city. For the last funding cycle of 2023 to 2025, FCSS funded programs and initiatives addressing 4 program priorities: positive mental health, poverty reduction and homelessness prevention, healthy social emotional development, and healthy relationships. For the 2026 to 2028 community program open intake, applications are being accepted for 2 of these priorities: positive mental health and poverty reduction, and homelessness prevention. For the other 2 program priorities, healthy social emotional development and healthy relationships, programs that are currently funded will be invited to submit a renewal request. Program priority literature reviews are available on the FCSS webpage. Expectations for FCSS funded agencies. We really want organization and programs to understand the expectations and reporting requirement of Edmonton FCSS prior to submitting an application. Our program is grounded in partnership. By this, we mean that we expect to meet with FCSS social planners as required, participating in Edmonton FCSS hosted gatherings and events, providing access to observe the funded programs as requested, providing excellence in preventive programming, using evaluation, best practices, and research to inform program development and adjustments, efficient and effective use of resources, including financial, human, and others. We also expect organization and programs to actively contribute to the preventive social service sector knowledge base through outcome reporting, sharing of new knowledge and research with others, and demonstrating a commitment and willingness to work in collaboration with others. Annual reporting requirements. Organizational reporting includes, at minimum, audited financial statements, including management letter from the auditor if requested by the city, and an internally generated schedule of revenue and expenses for the program. Annual general meeting minutes and annual report, current list of board of directors, proof of insurance and the city as an additional insured, strategic plan. Program reporting requirements include, at minimum, outcomes reporting due annually at the end of January, and changes related to the funded program design, delivery, budget, impacts, and staffing. It is important for all organizations to adhere to the timelines provided for reporting to remain in compliance with their funding agreement. The Community Program Grant provides funding and community programs and services that are preventive and build resilient individuals, thriving families, and create welcoming and engaged communities. The Community Program Grant has 2 streams of funding. Open applications will be accepted for positive mental health and poverty reduction and homelessness prevention priorities. Renewal requests are by invite only for currently funded programs under the priorities of healthy social and emotional development and healthy relationships. No new funding requests in these priority areas will be considered. The open application is for organizations and programs that meet the grant eligibility criteria and focus on either positive mental health or poverty reduction and homelessness prevention. For positive mental health, the focus areas that will be prioritized for funding are children, youth, and older adults, culturally appropriate responsive support services, solution-focused short-term or drop-in counseling, support groups, and peer support. For poverty reduction and homelessness prevention, the focus areas that will be prioritized for funding are poverty reduction, programs designed to strengthen financial resilience, programs that connect individuals with cost-saving resources, culturally and age-appropriate programs and services. For homeless prevention, programs, services that are coordinated and integrated within the homeless serving system of care, financial interventions that prevent people from losing their housing, culturally appropriate responsive support services, eviction prevention, and connection to Indigenous culture and targeted supports for youth that face barriers and families with children. Renewal requests are by invite only. For current funded programs under the priorities of healthy relationships and healthy social emotional development, these programs work towards achieving the following outcomes. For healthy relationships, participants have improved skills to develop and maintain healthy relationships, and participants have improved networks of social support. For healthy social emotional development, children and youth have improved social emotional developmental skills, and caregivers have the tools and skills to support healthy social emotional development in their children. These are the general eligibility requirements for organizations and programs. Organizations must be a not-for-profit organization registered for at least 1 year and in good standing with the incorporating body, such as the Alberta Society, nonprofit private company, nonprofit public company, extra-provincial nonprofit company. Have a social services mandate. Organizations whose purpose is focused on improving the social well-being of individuals, families, and communities, and addressing social issues. Must demonstrate sound board and financial governance practices. Demonstrate initiative and success in generating diverse sources of funding. Accomplish an adequate level of activity to merit a grant, and be in good standing with the city in terms of supporting, reporting requirements, and outstanding payments. For programs, must be Edmonton-based and serving Edmontonians, and preventive and focused on one of the grant priorities: positive mental health or poverty reduction and homelessness prevention for open applications. The application guide, which can be found on the grant webpage, goes into further detail about ineligible organization and programs, as well as eligible and ineligible expenses. Important information about funding requests for community programs is that the maximum funding request is $400,000 per year. Community programs that are currently receiving FCSS funding for more than the maximum allowable funding request of $400,000 per year will have an opportunity to request an exemption by completing the exemption request form. After you apply, you will be asked for the exemption request form by emailing grants@edmonton.ca. Due to limited funds and high demand, not all eligible FCSS community program funding requests will be approved, and programs may receive full, reduced, and no funding. There is no appeal process. Successful applicants and renewal requests may receive up to 3 years of funding and must enter into a funding agreement with the City of Edmonton. Here are some tips for completing the application. To submit an application, your organization needs to be validated in the grant portal. Once you register, validation can take a few days, so please do not wait to do this. You will see the application under Funding Opportunities in the grant portal. Start an application and answer questions completely and be clear and concise. Remember to save a draft as you move along through the application. Include all the required documents. Check the grant web page for more information. If you want to apply for more than one program, you will need to complete a separate application for each. The grant process is expected to follow these timelines. The application deadline is on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Applications will be reviewed and assessed from May to June. Funding decisions will be communicated to applicants in July. For successful applicants, funding agreements between the city and the organization will be created and sent out for signing in the fall. Community programs approved for funding will receive monthly payments beginning January 2026. Although we endeavor to meet these timelines, this is just subject to change if there are any unforeseen delays in the process. This concludes the presentation. If you have any more questions, please email us at grants@edmonton.ca, or you can visit the website edmonton.ca/FCSS.